Hello everyone and welcome to the 60X Business Show. My name is Kitumaini and together with my guests we'll have different conversations about business, entrepreneurship and life. This is the show you've been waiting for. Stay tuned. In today's conversation, I have an amazing serial entrepreneur. He's committed to the sustainability of electric mobility in Africa. He's the co-founder and CEO of Safi and also Ride Rwanda. Safi is a shared electric motorcycle. And also, Rides is a shared e-bike. And in the studio, he's Nandan Tony Adesina. Tony, welcome to the conversation.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
How are you today?
I'm doing great.
Wonderful. It's really a pleasure to have you.
Same here.
Is there anything about you that I forgot to introduce you on that you can tell the listeners about?
Well, yeah, we have the shared bicycle company here. We have the ride hailing electric motorcycle company, as well as the eco-friendly delivery, which is Safi Run. And we have the newly launched EV plugin.
Wonderful. That is really amazing, and that is a lot.
Thank you.
So on the 60X, you'll be spinning the wheel, and then randomly we'll select a number, and from there I'll ask you a question. Are you ready?
Sure.
Over to you.
Spin this way, huh?
Whichever way you like. What's your lucky number?
11.
11.
Yeah.
Let's see if you will be able to get in the show your lucky number. Let's start with 7.
Okay, great.
Can you tell me who is Tony? Growing up as a kid, what were your dreams and passion?
As a kid, I love sports. I love the game of basketball. I love soccer. I played a little bit, elementary, middle school. I actually thought I was going to go to the NBA, but I wasn't tall enough.
Okay.
So I kind of gave up on that in high school. But I've always been, driven. I always had a passion for business. And at a early age, I knew what university I wanted to go to, which was Penn State. And I ended up going to Penn State. I wanted to do engineering. I didn't know anything about engineering. I ended up, studying and graduating industrial engineer, which is the closest thing to business. And I'm just a passionate person that believe a lot in, having a calling and having a purpose, in whatever, aspect of life you're involved in, whether it's business, whether it's a professional field, you have to find your purpose, and that's what makes it all count.
Wonderful. That's really amazing. And I would like to know, you talked a little bit about your purpose. Do you have a moment in life where it's completely changed the trajectory of your life, and how did that feel like?
In college, I always based success, because I always knew I wanted to go into business, based on my staff strength. How many people can I employ and, really empower. If it's 10, 20, that's easily 80 mouths, I'm feeding. So for me, I get a lot of, pride and joy, just knowing I'm able to make impact that way. And, coming into Rwanda, all our projects are, employment creation driven, and, gender equality and women empowerment. So it's been fulfilling thus far. And we're only just getting started, because our dream is to cover Africa as a whole, and Rwanda was the place we chose to kick things off.
Well, I like the way you pointed out, empowering women, creating jobs, impacting community, and starting in Rwanda and basically scaling on the continent. And a little bit of background, my guest today is Tony, and he's the founder and CEO of Safi Ride and Ride Rwanda, all those beautiful electric bike that you see over the city. And my follow-up question is, as an entrepreneur, you have the taste of creating a lot of businesses. And your background is in engineering. What drove your move into the business?
I've always had a knack for business. Summertime. I've always found a way to, with a buddy of mine is growing up, we'll always find a way to buy, products, cheaper, and, I always find a way to sell it for a higher price and make a profit. And I just always knew business was the path I wanted to walk in. Even though I studied industrial engineering, which also is the closest engineering to business because it deals with assembly line and manufacturing things of that nature. So that's always been something that I always wanted to do, and I knew within my heart that that's the path I was going to end up towing, which today that's what I'm doing.
Wonderful. Yeah. Let's spin the wheel for another round of questions. You got 7. What's going to be your next lucky number? Let's hope we get 11 this time. With all the drums. So close to 11. Close. You got 10. Yeah. You just launched your EVP charger, your EVP plugin. Can you tell us more about that? How does it work? And why do you think electric mobility is important on the continent now?
Okay, I'll take your questions, from the last one to the first one. E-mobility is quite important to Africa, and I think the time is now. Simply because if you look at the trajectory and the path that the rest of the world is going, everybody's moving towards electric mobility. Car manufacturers are stopping the production of fossil fuel and diesel cars, which means all their initial production and their inventory, they need a dumping ground for that. And most likely it'll be Africa. And I like to say Rwanda is doing an extremely great job in shielding itself to not be one of those dump yards. And that's why you see the progressive nature of the government's initiative that they're giving to e-mobility companies, and just their push towards green vision green transport to ensure that the country is ahead of the curve and moving along the path of the future like the rest of the world. And EV plug-in is it's an interesting project. EVP charger pretty much is a public charging station network. Not only dealing with just cars, which is the usual. Motorcycles are the most used form of transportation in Rwanda. Yeah. And we figured, if we're really gonna, push and, help support this drive, we need to, adopt a system that also carries them along. Because there's 76% of the transportation sector, which is motorcycles, being used by the public. So we developed a system where we can also charge these electric motorcycles, rather than the swap models that's being used. We opted for a plug-in model. It takes between 30 to 40 minutes, and for full charge if your battery is completely depleted. But just like a fossil fuel car, you don't always fill the tank of your car. Sometimes you go in there for 5,000 francs or whatever. The same rule applies. You just charge what you need, and we really emphasize on the quality of our charging station, and most importantly the network. Because most questions you get with e-mobility is, what if I'm going to Musanze or I want to see family Gisenyi, how would I be able to charge my motor vehicle, whether it's motorcycle or car. So EV plug-in is pretty much a nationwide project, connecting the entire country with a charging station network, so you can have layover, stopovers on the side of the road. If you need to quick plug in to go ahead on your trip, you can always pop in at a charging station and charge your vehicle. It's a public charging station, which means any vehicle can really plug into any of our stations, as long as you have the charging port, which information we make available for importers. We want to take that load off importers shoulder to ensure that you just deal with the importation of the EVs while you have a foundation of a charging infrastructure on ground for your customers to really put to use.
Beautiful. And if I have a new car and I charge fully my car, how many kilometers can I run on average?
It really depends. It depends on the capacity of the car. You have cars that have range between 300 kilometers to 400. Some are higher, and the technology is only getting better. Same thing with motorcycles. There's a hilly terrain here, so we have that battle we've been kind of battling with, over the years in Rwanda. But the technology is getting better, and the motorcycles are seeing ranges, between 90 to 100 kilometers, which is very important to the moto drivers because they really want to ensure that they're getting the value for their money. But more importantly, you save a ton of money with EV. Save a ton of money in the sense that if you're using about 5,000 francs daily for your moto, you'll be spending about 3,000, 3,500 with the EV, in the charging station, on a battery swap, which is quite a huge saving if you look at an entire year. Then cost of maintenance is extremely low with EVs. You don't have like your oil changes or your tune-ups that you have with the fossil fuel, the diesel operated vehicle. So there's an upside to it. There's a lot of benefit, not to mention the environmental benefit and our health, because the pollution rate is quite high because of the numbers of motorcycles you have. And, last year at a point, His Excellency, Paul Kagame mentioned that he wanted to swap all the old motorcycles for the new ones. So there's a lot of vehicles in place, and we're all working together collectively along with the government agencies to see how we can subsidize some of these things and also work out a leasing program to make that exchange smooth. We can't win the entire market, but we do our best to get at least a significant amount to cut down the pollution.
How excited are you about the future of your industry?
It's exciting. I mean, years and years ago, we see flying cars in movies, right? And then now they're drones, and you have like, flying cars actually already been tested and prototyped, so the future we thought about, back then that would never come, we're actually already in the future. So it's important to key in, into this, present time and to ensure that, you're constantly innovative so you're not left behind.
Wonderful. As you heard from Tony, the future, we're already in the future, and what businesses need to do to keep innovating, to stay ahead of the curve than be left behind. And my follow-up question, we've seen during this pandemic a lot of businesses being affected, including even in the transportation sector. In your specific case, what are the learnings and opportunities are you seeing that's going to help you move forward?
Well, our businesses, I believe, we're on the right side of the curve. Specifically, if you look at Safi Run, which is eco-friendly delivery, folks like to order out now. Delivery is like the way forward, and our runners, all our fleet is in-house. We own all our fleet. We train all our runners, and we ensure that they have the proper skills to carry out their jobs, and most importantly for us is the customer service. Now this industry is seeing a boom across the world. Everybody's doing delivery now, right? People are hardly going into stores or going into restaurants to eat. So it's at a peak point right now. Ride share and ride hailing the same thing as well, especially here because people are comfortable and they're very interested in having that safety net. Know who their driver is, know who's picking them up, and our mobile app is able to show you who's picking you up, and most importantly, you have a check and balance system. You can always call Safi Ride. All our captains are equipped with jackets. They're numbered, as well as ID badges. So if you have any kind of problems whatsoever, you could always go through the rating system on the app, or you can call us and we make sure that everything is taken care of. So with Safi Ride, is a safety net and it's comfort. You get picked up at your doorsteps at a click of a button.
Oh, wonderful. And from investment standpoint, how easy or hard is it easy for investor to invest in businesses in your industry, business like yours? Do investor think twice, or there is a lot of opportunity for them that is a new opportunity within the Rwandan market? The risk appetite, it's kind of like investing in these businesses is not riskier because there's a lot of potential to scale and grow. From an investment perspective, how easy for you is to secure investments?
I don't think any investment is easy at all. I think as an investor, just like you mentioned, your risk appetite. You always got you always win and lose in investment. There's no guarantee in any business whatsoever. But you only need to get it right once, and then you hit it big. So talking to investors is all about proof of concept. People have a lot of comfort in Rwanda. They have a lot of comfort in the space, in the business space. There's structure here. There's a business model here that works, and it's been proven. And more importantly, you have a safety net in terms of like your investment is protected. You have so many policies that drive in to the fact that they want you to succeed. Because those testimonials and those success stories is what encourages other investors to come into the country. So I think collectively, it's a good space to come in as an investor. Agriculture, real estate, transportation, you name it. Rwanda is a really, really great place to invest in, especially now.
Amazing. Let's spin the wheel for another round of questions. Okay. You got 7, 10. What's your next lucky number? Bingo! You got your lucky number. Interesting. Tony got his lucky number. As a serial entrepreneur, we've been discussing how you co-founded a lot of businesses. And how do you decide to filter your ideas, your creativity before investing your time, your resources into that?
Well, because a lot of our solutions are, very intentional when it comes to Africa, because we've spent so much time, and decades, sourcing for solutions, from, Western world, and just external parties, rather than looking from within, and harnessing, the young talents we have in our individual countries. We always tend to import, whether it's experts, whether it's technology. And I think one thing that started as a valuable lesson is this, COVID-19 period, when everybody's facing the same issues and everybody have to fend for his or her citizens. Where do you turn to next? So I think that was an eye opener, and that should have been a wake up call to all of us to really, tap, and tap within, our internal resources, and governments have to step up and really empower the youth to ensure that they're not taking these, these talents, abroad, which is a lot of things is happening now. I mean, you have vaccines being invented by a lot of Africans involved in the whole, process where, we don't have anything like that here in the whole entire continent. We're all dependent, on the external world. So for me, I'm constantly looking up, looking at the void and seeing how we can fill that void. And I'm looking at the different opportunities, that's out there to create, solutions that we need within the continent. Figure out proof of concept. Once it works, we just go for it. We don't always succeed, but for us, failure doesn't exist. It's a learning curve to get it right, in the second go around. So that's how we kind of approach most of our projects.
Amazing. And I'm curious to understand about, for how long you've been working on Safi-wide and Google-wide idea. Walk us through the inception, all the backstage cooking before it came to life.
It's interesting you said cooking, because that's what I call it.
Yeah.
When I'm working. Guru, right? It's not a new system. You go to Asia, you go to the US, UK, like it's everywhere except for Africa, because we have this mindset that cycling is for poor people, which is wrong, right? You see a lot of foreigners in different African countries all cycling, and they're in the upper bracket in terms of earnings. But for us, Guru Ride is very, very. It's my most. It's what I'm most passionate about, if I could call it that, simply because we believe it can work. We believe it's all about changing the mindset of our people and getting them to understand that cycling, number one, there's so many benefits to it, from the health angle, from the affordability angle, and then just last mile access to transportation, and also decongesting, the roads. I'm pretty sure you see how congested things are getting as you have more and more cars come in. And we're really, really excited at the involvement at the COK and the entire government of Rwanda, because again, this is another nationwide project. You have Huye, which is the educational hub of Rwanda, so many students there, and we want them to be able to get from one point to the other at extremely, almost next to nothing in terms of how much it costs them. So Guru Ride is unique on its own, and we can almost beat our chest that it will be successful in Rwanda, and we'll let that be, a poster child, and some kind of inspirational story for other African countries to also key into. And when I'm cooking, I just I lock in, I just focus, and I don't take no for an answer. We don't believe anything is impossible.
Wonderful.
Literally. Yeah.
As you heard from Tony, whenever they're cooking, all the ideas, they don't take no as an answer, and they always believe that everything is possible. And my follow-up question, what is the adoption of shared either e-bike or motorcycles that you've been testing within the one market for a while now, and how are you seeing the trend?
Well, folks are really excited. We're currently deploying the bicycles out now, and the docking stations. We have them at the Marriott, we have them at CBD, which Marriott is. We have them at the Kitumaini Axis by the Kigali Arena. We're doing a 90-day free demo. Pretty much, we don't want to come in hot and ask people to stop paying for services. We just want them to really feel the system and really adopt it. And then we'll figure out to kind of make that real affordable. And then the city of Kigali is really, really involved in this. The entire government is really, really pushing for this, because we do need this to be a success story to really start changing the conversation across Africa. And we believe that collectively as a whole, whether it's a government agency or ourselves and the public, we can make this work.
Wonderful, and it's great that you have a good support systems around that, and you pointed something, you need to make this successful as a proof of concept. And what do you think is the future of transportation on the African continent?
I believe we're shifting more towards people not really owning cars. I think people are going to adopt more of the move, the Uber, you know, and not owning cars because it's more expensive to actually own a vehicle. So anywhere you need to get to, you can really just, you know, use an app to access that, or you can pick up a bicycle, or you can actually even own a little, you know, moped, which is a scooter, much smaller, you know, portable, and you can actually get from one point to the other at a quicker pace. So I think that's the future of transportation, because countries that are really in cities are looking for ways to decongest the roads. They're really, really getting congested, and you know, the more cars and, you know, buses and everything you have on the road, the higher the pollution rate. So I think the future is bright for transportation. We can see the shift already. Cycling and, you know, bicycle, you know, bicycle procurement has really, you know, went skyrocketed in the last 1 year after COVID, because everybody started using, you know, bicycles more.
Yeah.
Unlike, you know, before COVID started.
Interesting. And I'll be very, very curious to know what decided your move to Rwanda to come and start your businesses. Why not any other market, but Rwanda?
Well, we're in the electric mobility sector, and you know, the government itself has a Vision Green Transport. You know, when you have a very progressive government like that, you know, already, you know, towing a line of what field, you know, what sector you're dabbling into. I think for us it was a no-brainer. We didn't have to come in to try to convince the government that this is how electric mobility works, this is the advantage. They already had that vision in place. So, you know, we were searching across Africa to, you know, figure out where we want to kick off our projects. Rwanda was a no-brainer, you know. The people, anything that, you know, helps the country move forward, Rwandans key and buy into it, which was a very, very determining factor for us. You know, people of Rwanda want to, they want a progressive country. They want a country that works. You know, they want a country, anything, any idea, any project whatsoever that will help them and enhance the country, they sign up for it. And so for us, it was like, hey, you know what? We're home, you know. This is the best place to get this done, and we're very thankful so far that we've been successful thus far.
Wonderful. I like the way you painted out how the infrastructure itself was there to help you easily set up, and the whole infrastructure ecosystem is business conducive, right?
Yes.
Let's spin the wheel for another round of questions. You got 7, 10, 11. What's your next lucky number, Tony?
13.
All the way.
4.
4. Wonderful. What do you think has contributed to your success to reach where you are now in your business?
Determination, perseverance, and you know, not willing to take no for an answer. I think it's my drive over anything. And just, you know, just the sense of fulfillment you get, you know, building something from scratch, you know, and watching it blossom over time, and, you know, seeing it, you know, become successful. And especially the fact that we're doing it here in Africa, you know, the space we're operating in is, you don't have too many black folks, not to mention Africans, you know, so it's a thing of pride and joy for us that we're able to create solutions for our people. And just like we like to say, we have to create solutions for Africa by Africans, you know, it's the only way we can move ahead, you know.
Interesting. And as a leader, you lead a diverse team of people. How would you define leadership?
Leadership is best defined by example. You can't ask your team for what you don't give. You want hard work, you got to work harder. You know, you want punctuality, you have to be on time. You know, you want people to lock in and really buy into the culture. You have to also buy into the culture.
Yeah.
You know, so it's so many things involved in leadership, and I think when most people get it misconstrued is trying to you know, get, you know, certain output from people when you're not giving that in, because, you know, your staffs and, you know, your team, they see you. As a leader, you have to be willing to get your hands dirty. You know, construction doesn't matter. They know, you know what, their boss is willing to get his hands dirty. You know, they work twice as hard because they know that you're all in. You know, so that's the approach that I like to take. You know, and for me, I don't do much of a boss. I do much of a team player, right? We can do this together, right? And just that having that work atmosphere where, you know, your team can talk to you, they can relate with you, you know, is very important also, because, you know, they be comfortable, you know, to be able to give it their all. You know, of course, you still got to keep that separation, but you have to kind of be diplomatic on how you handle that.
Okay, interesting. I like some of the wording. You need to be a team player. You need to lead by examples, which are some of the key attributes of good leaders. And my follow-up question, as an entrepreneur running a lot of businesses, how does it feel to be an entrepreneur?
Sometimes I think about it, what it would feel like to actually go into office in a suit, and in a suit and have to, go to work and sit at a desk. I've never, gotten an opportunity to do that before. But as an entrepreneur, it's I don't want to call it a calling. This is a choice. And you find some kind of purpose, once you key into what you believe your purpose is, I think it makes it worth the while. Sometimes people don't like their job, but at least the business you do, you have to love the business you do, and that's what helps you give it your all. So, entrepreneur, it's just like having a job.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
That's so amazing.
Only sometimes you don't get paid. Yeah, you pay everybody else. You're last.
I can easily connect. And in terms of scaling and expanding, what is the future long-term plan of Safi and Gururide?
For across the board, Safi Ride, Gururide, Safi Run, EV Plugin, SUL, we're looking to cut across the entire EAC, tap into West Africa and also Southern Africa, Botswana. We're looking at Ghana, Nigeria at a point, Tanzania, Uganda, Kenya. So we need to talk, our solutions for entire Africa, and that's our approach. And we have a lot of traction. Other countries right now, they're interested in our solutions. So it's exciting times ahead.
Interesting. Africa, stay tuned, and Tony and the whole team, they are coming for you. And I would like to know, what is the hard part of your job in your business? You have one side, all the fleets, the maintenance aspects, equipment handling. Or on the other side, you have the platform where people can make their reservation, the upgrade of the platform system itself. Where is the hard part of the job in between the two?
The hardest part is your team. Keeping a team,
I didn't see that coming.
Your team have to buy into your vision. And you can create the platforms, everything you want. If you don't have a team that's bought into your vision, then you're in trouble. Right, so keeping them, locked in, and keeping them, keeping the eye on the prize, and keeping, finding a way to, get them to stay the course. That's the most difficult part. But once you get that right, everything else will fall in place.
Yeah, that's reminded me of a saying that I've had, and it's completely changed my mind. If you want your team to do better their job, no, if you want your customers to be happy, make sure your team is very happy, because they are the one dealing with customers.
Absolutely.
Wonderful. And as an entrepreneur, can you tell me if you've tried something and you failed, and how did you feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm in the restaurant business as well in Nigeria. My first restaurant didn't work out. My second one actually got broken down, demolished like 3 times, and finally we got it up and running. And now it's almost a decade old. So yeah, I failed.
How did you feel about that?
I got back up. It was like, what's the next thing? We have to get back up. I didn't dwell, or I didn't really stay too much into that. I was worried about the next step. What's the way forward? Because at the end of the day, you got to find a solution and move forward. Nothing waits.
Interesting. Let me wrap up this conversation with my last question. If you could start over in business and make money, what business would you start and why?
I would still stay in the transportation, transportation logistics, because I'm good at it. And for me, it's not really necessarily about making money. Your solutions will always find a way to do that for you. But it's what I find. I get fulfillment from that. Some kind of joy that I get from that. Anything that has to do with job creation, I'm locked into that, and I think I'll still stay within that field. But my passion is restaurant. I'm a restaurateur by heart, so that'll always be a part of me. Yeah.
Wonderful. And by then, we are coming to the end of this conversation, and my guest was Tony Adesina. He's the CEO and co-founder of Ride and Ride here in Rwanda. Check them out. They have amazing, cool things coming for you up next. And thanks a lot, Tony, for making it to the show.
Appreciate you. Thanks for having me.
Wonderful. The conversation continues on social media using the hashtag 60xbusiness. Till next time, be safe, wear your mask. My name is Kitumaini, and you're watching KC2.